Bismillah. It's really important in your life when things happen to not get caught up on what is going on in your situation in the here and now, but to be mindful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can bring amazing blessings from a difficult situation in a way that you would never expect if you show patience and you properly put your trust in Him. This has happened time and time again to many people who, as soon as something difficult happens in their life, they turn to Allah. One situation in which somebody I know was immediately let go from their job right after they had a baby. And this is, of course, a very stressful situation. That person, they immediately turned to Allah. They gave some sadaqah. They then prayed 2 rakat and asked Allah for forgiveness. And they were wrongfully let go from their job. And then they pursued a process to correct and rectify the situation. From what they mentioned, it was extremely stressful. It definitely took a toll on them. But the eventual outcome ended up being very good for them in terms of the next job that they got after waiting for maybe half a year, and in terms of the eventual agreement that they got with their former employer in terms of the compensation that they received. It ended up being a means of many doors opening for them. But in the moment, the stress was there. In the moment, this person mentioned that it was extremely tense, and it was hard, and it created a lot of anxiety and worry, especially because there was a new baby in the picture. And naturally, if your income goes away as soon as you have a child, it starts to become something that is on your mind, right? And yet, eventually, through the patience and through the tawakkul in Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fulfilled the promise, as He says, that whoever places their trust in Allah, He is sufficient for them. In another situation, someone I know was telling me about somebody in their community, that as they were growing up in their community, this person had extreme amounts of wealth, like lived in some really large house, $15-20 million home. Maybe their net worth was multi-$100 million, maybe even billion-dollar net worth. And so a lot of people would look at this person and they would become, of course, have a kind of covetousness and want what they have, and maybe even be a little bit jealous of what they have. And so this friend who was telling me this story said that when they would go over to this person's house, they would walk away and ask their parents, the house is so big, how come our house isn't like that? And they would kind of try to keep this and they would be very much trying to make sense of these things. And what this person's parents told them is that this individual, who was very wealthy, was also being tested in an extreme way. That one of their children, when they were very young, actually walked into the pool and almost drowned. And it got into a situation where that child was brain dead for years, and then passed away at a very young age, and was on all sorts of machines in the time that they were alive. And so while this person had immense wealth, they were also being tested. Don't always covet what other people have. The grass is always greener on the other side. Every single person, of course, is going to choose health and a healthy family, and of course healthy children that are not going through these types of adversities, over having all of the external blessings, even if they're in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And so it's very easy. The key moral lesson here is that it's very easy to see the situation that you're in right now and to not realize the blessings that Allah is giving you and the tests that come with other types of blessings. The human being, if they follow the way of shaitan, will always be looking at other people. But if they follow the way of Islam, you will be grateful in the situation you're in, and will start to see blessings come out of difficulties because you will be placing your trust in Allah, and Allah will never let you down.